Let's ask a man who has made it his mission to dismantle DEI and the current condition of our education system, none other than Chris Rufo. Chris, welcome. Those numbers did not surprise you. What are we doing about it?
Well, it's very interesting. COVID was really the great disruptor of the educational status quo. Parents across the country saw the problems with the general education system in the United States. And the more they take action, the more we're seeing students achieve. So states can help with universal school choice. And so I'm optimistic about education. The more parents understand what's wrong, the more energy they put into fixing it. And that's ultimately what's going to help America's kids. We can't rely on the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. Education happens in the home, it happens in the local institutions, it happens in churches and schools, and that's where our focus needs to be.
So, so interesting is we ask parents, why are you homeschooling your kids? Here are some of the reasons. 83% said the school environment, safety, drug exposure, peer pressure. 72% say dissatisfaction with the instruction, which you have mentioned. 53% want more religion in school and in some instruction. We could always find that, but a lot of times that's a tuition. And 50% provide non-traditional approach. I was amazed how many people tell me that they basically set up their own classrooms where kids in the neighborhood come over and also multiple grades may be sitting in somebody's kitchen learning. I'm surprised that that's really taken root.
Yeah, that's right. It's not one size fits all. And Brian, I'll tell you, my wife actually did that this past year with one of our kids. They had a math pod where parents would send their kids from all over the neighborhood. They'd study math together, and it was an extraordinarily effective way of teaching. These kids were learning at about double the rate of the traditional public school curriculum. They loved it. It was safe. It was fun. And so we're in a renaissance of American education, and parents who care about their kids are going to figure out it's not a one-size-fits-all system. Each kid might have unique needs. Different systems might be the best fit. And so I think these are all very positive signs.
I know. For the most part, though, think about all the social skills you do get in public school. The things you're exposed to, but it's not going to happen with homeschool. That's something every parent has to weigh. All right, some good news. I read this story earlier this week in the Wall Street Journal, and it seems like colleges are getting the message to a degree. My fingers are crossed. Elite colleges, this is a tear from the story, like Harvard, Columbia, Emory, Wesleyan have added essay questions in the last couple of years asking applicants this: to recount a dispute with someone whose beliefs differ from your own, known as a disagreement essay. Its rise comes as conservatives accuse schools of being hotbeds of liberal groupthink where students can't tolerate dissent. So we're seeing questions, they want to build skills so people can understand how to talk to people they disagree with. Can we be a little bit pleased by some of this? And a lot of this is because of things that you've exposed?
Yeah, I think administrators in elite universities are starting to feel the heat. They're realizing that they can't simply have a left-wing monoculture in these institutions. This is a good sign that they're trying to broaden their horizons. They're trying to bring in dissenting viewpoints. And look, liberal education, the actual phrase liberal education, does not mean left-wing education.
Yes.
It comes from the Latin word liber, meaning freedom. So you're training free people how to live in a system of a free society. And that really means pluralistic debate and rigorous disputes on campus. If this is an early sign, I'm optimistic, but I won't hold my breath.
Right. I think there's a lot of pressure as long as this president's in office to do that because he is not shy about holding back funding. I think you've noticed. I know they have. Lastly, Chicago public schools are an abomination. Now this is exposed by an audit. They are blowing millions of dollars on travel expenses, not for students, but they're blowing it on teachers so they can go to conferences to the tune of $23.6 million over the last 6 years.
And that's exactly how they're doing it. They're feathering their own beds, they're raiding retirement funds, they're bilking the taxpayer and giving very little back to students.
I mean, they're going overseas to do this. They're going to conferences, going to Las Vegas, going early, staying late, and coming back. You would think there'd be a degree of guilt when you see how deprived some of these public schools are, despite flooding it with money.
Yeah, you'd think that, but these are shameless institutions. They're not in it for the kids. They're in it for themselves. And so Chicago is facing this desperate crisis. And I think that's going to be an increasingly big conflict. And to the extent that the federal government can do something about it, I think withholding some of those federal funds from Chicago until they get their act together is something that we should think about.
All right, Chris, thanks so much. I also want to catch up to you again and to follow up the story that you broke about what's going on with the Somali immigrants, many of which are illegal, over in Minnesota. Thanks so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.